What's up, everyone? All right. All right, what is up? Hello, hello. It's Mike Deary from Rock Guitar Power and Super Guitar Licks. So doing a impromptu live session here, just hanging out to kind of redo a live session I did last week, actually. I did a live question and answer and performance lesson. Had some audio issues that I knew I could get better, and I have some new features today that I want to do. So I'm actually going to review a lot of the things that I talked about last week and just do more of like a highlight so we can kind of cut all the middle stuff and just go right to the meat and potatoes. So, what's up? Again, Mike Deary from Rock Guitar Power and Super Guitar Licks. If you do happen to jump in, ask some questions, and I'm here to help you. But for the most part, I didn't really announce this, so I'm just going to kind of shoot to what we talked about in the last live lesson that I did to kind of cover some of the stuff that was brought up during the lesson. So, one of the main things that I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to talk about now, is ways to make learning your favorite songs easier and how to get results faster. Two things that pretty much anybody wants, especially when they're working on something like getting better at guitar. Everyone wants results quickly, and you want to try to sound good and have fun with it, obviously. So there's some tips that I help all my students out, because it's something that everyone kind of struggles with as far as when they want to learn their favorite songs, you know, how to get results quick so that you don't lose steam and so that you have fun when you're doing it and see results quick. And the first thing is the mental mindset and thought of keeping things simplified. There is always, most always, an easier way to play something. It might not be the exact way that a song is written, but there's usually an easier way to approach playing something. You kind of leave certain things out, okay? And a very good example is this groove I was just playing, all right? So if I play it here with my fingers and do some fancy picking, all right? It's very notey and melodic chord progression, but there is a basic chord progression. So if I leave all of the notes out of all the fancy stuff that I did, what we want to do is just look at the chords that are happening, all right? And that is E minor, C major, D5, or pretty much a D chord without the middle finger, and E minor. Okay? So if I want to approach learning this song, you'll have a lot of fun if you could easily just play chords over the song instead of learning all these fancy picking parts and intricate things that you need to do with both hands. So I could first, and even without doing, you know, playing like this, I could just get a pick and strum these chords. E minor, C, D5, E minor. Okay? Very simple. And it's still going to sound like the song, okay? Let me load up an example of what I'm talking about here. This is actually a part of something that I teach in Rock Guitar Power. So we have some fancy screen share, which you should be able to see my screen now, hopefully. And basically what we're going to look at is in the Pro Jam. So if I'm in Rock Guitar Power, where you could find this is under Guitar Courses and the Guitar Pro Jam, all right? And if we go here, once this loads, here's all our different Pro Jams. This one's called Icy Fire Jam, all right? Now, this is actually a groove that's based off of a song by, it'll come to me in a minute, Ed Sheeran. So he wrote this song for actually The Hobbit, and it's basically a groove based upon his song. It's a little quicker, and I approach playing it differently. But if we look at just the chords here, which I teach in the first part, all right? So step one, you have the chords, right? Here's the three chords that you need to know. E minor, C major, D5, back to E minor, okay? So if I just play that in the same time of the song, I'm able to simplify this groove and play to it. So if you scroll down, we have our backing tracks here, all right? So here's the full tempo at 120 with the guitar rhythm, the bass, and drums. Check it out. Once it loads, if it loads, so if we can get this going. And hang on one second. Let's see where our audio is. Ah, there we go. Okay, so here's our audio, and here's our groove with all the fancy stuff. But now watch when I just play these simple chords over top it. So, 2, 3, 4. able to play that song at the tempo and just simplify it. So if I could do that, number one, I'm going to have a lot more fun than if I were to learn the song right away by trying to do all the fancy stuff that's going on. All right? Oop, can't hear audio. All right, let's find out why. Thanks, Jeff, for letting me know. Anybody else there and can let me know if there's no audio? Was it you couldn't hear the audio of the backing track, or you can't hear me at all, Jeff? Let me know. Hopefully we'll get this working. You should be hearing just me. Let's see. Check 1, 2. Test, test. Should be there. Jeff, let me know if it actually gets better. Hopefully it should be. And I'm going to keep on moving through here. So, and if not, for whatever reason, I'll make sure that the replay has everything working correctly. So, what we were talking about is simplifying this, right? So now I found a way to take a lot more intricate song and dumb it down. Once you learn the basic chord progression of whatever song you're working on, now you could start looking for ways to make it more intricate and closer to maybe what's going on with the actual final recording or the final version of the song you're trying to learn, okay? It's a very simple idea, but it's something that not a lot of people that I find think about when they're first starting, okay? Everyone wants to shoot to play exactly the way the song is or exactly the way the whole thing kind of comes out. So try to find ways to simplify. Look at just the chords. And the other thing to do is if you're working off a guitar tab, all right, and it looks very overwhelming because you have like 5 pages of music, you want to write out just a basic chord chart, okay? Here's a perfect example, all right? So, Janis Joplin. I've been learning this album to play along for the full album because number one, it's an awesome album. And number two, I have a friend that wants to play the whole thing and perform it in a band. So, a simple song, period. Well, it's Mercedes-Benz. Actually, sorry, not Mercedes-Benz. What do we got? Me and Bobby McGee, all right? Very famous tune. So this is what I have to work off of for sheet music and guitar tab, all right? It's actually the piano and, you know, vocals and guitar charts up here. Now, this song is about 5 or 6, 7, 8 pages long. That feels very overwhelming, okay? If you were to sit in front of this and look at guitar charts for 8 pages, you're going to think to yourself, how do I ever learn all this, okay? The first thing to remember is that most songs that people like learning have 2 or 3 parts total. You know, you have your verse and you have your chorus, all right? And usually the parts to the verse and chorus are always the same. They might add some extra things. They might, you know, spice it up or do some variations. But the basic chord progression of both of those parts is usually the same. So what I do to make this song easier, and Jeff, let me know if you're hearing audio now, is simplify this. All right, so here is a breakdown of the chords in the verse and the chorus. Okay, so I now reduced about 8 pages of music down to 1 because all I need to know is what chord is being played and how many bars it's being played for. All right, so again, I'm now able to play to this song pretty much right away, and I'm not needing to flip through all these pages because my goal first is just to get some progress in playing along to the song and be able to play through it all. Okay, so this is my one way of a cheat sheet. And now if you even need to play in a live band, you know, you could even bring this with you to a gig or to a practice. If you're not fully comfortable and just want this as a reminder, you're not going to have, you know, 5 pages of sheet music for one song in front of you, but it's cool to have just one if you need to flip through it, okay? So find ways that you could simplify by just taking out the chord progressions and looking at those and even simplifying, okay? Use the same strum pattern, you know, throughout the song. So again, that's a way, that's a simple strum pattern that I could use for Robbie McGee. Very simple and very easy, all right? So again, find ways to simplify, all right? And then when it comes to solos and all that, the other thing that I like to do when I'm learning a song is take two approaches at the same time. Always simplify so you can really get results and have fun right away. The second thing, though, is listen to the song and try to get an idea of what are going to be the really tricky parts. And start chipping away at them, okay? If you save that for the very end, you might get a lot of steam and then get frustrated because now you have to approach the really hard part. If you try to get an ear for what parts are going to be hard and just take 10 minutes out of your practice session and work a little bit on them, it's a way to help make it easier, okay? So try that out. Hopefully that helps, all right? And if you guys have questions when you're watching this, type them in. I'm happy to cover anything. I'm just going to cover some topics that I meant to touch upon here. But if you have questions, by all means, write them in the chat, and I'll answer them live and do my best I can here, all right? So simplify and have fun. Get results quickly. Play along to the song. And also record yourself, okay? The other thing that I have here in the backing tracks of this tune I was showing you are slower tempos, okay? What's really important for yourself is to learn a song and know that you're playing it correctly and just do it slower, okay? Let's say here I have this groove and I'm trying to play these chords. But at 120, it's a little bit too fast, right? So let's say if I know I could use a metronome, and I could do 90 or 95, let me just play to that first so it's simple and easier, okay? So in other words, let me play this backing track. This is the full thing at 95 instead of 120. So let's give this a listen. A lot slower. Gain some confidence, and there's really no excuse these days to not record yourself. If you have an iPhone hanging around or a cell phone, it's going to have an app that allows you to record yourself. And even if you don't have any fancy software that allows you to loop it, play the single thing over for 4 minutes straight. It's a great way to practice and get really good at a chord progression. Just record yourself playing it for 4 minutes. Then you have a backing track to go ahead and jam on top of, okay? When I started out this session, I was just jamming, and actually down below here I have a looping pedal. So if I lay down the chord progression once, okay, like if I reset this, let's go ahead and play the chord progression. And I'm going to set my loop. Very simple. Now it's going to loop. So now I can practice soloing if I want over this. Or if I want to do the fancier stuff, it's a good way to see if I could keep the simple part there, and then after I learn the more intricate way of playing it, play them on top of each other and see if it sounds good, okay? Just some fun tips, again, on how to simplify and use recording to help you out and help you get better at the things that seem tricky, okay? You'd be amazed at how fast that helps you excel and be able to learn quicker, all right? So that's one of the subjects that we talked upon, all right? Another was talking about Travis picking, all right? This was someone, I believe Leonard wrote in, one of our members, and wanted to know a little bit more about that. So before I get into that, let me just go ahead and jam out on a song here. Let me go ahead and hide this so we don't need to see this right now. Cool. So let's go ahead and play on it, jam out a little bit. So. So there you go. A little bit something else there. Let me go ahead and check one thing. So that was Windy and Warm by Doc Watson. And let me just check one thing. Okay. Cool. So what we're going to do is use this song as a little example to talk about Travis picking. The other thing that we covered in our previous lesson that I wanted to reemphasize was talking about how to build more dexterity, especially with your thumb using a technique like this. Now, I'm actually not super familiar with Travis picking. I did study enough of it to kind of know the basics, and they are very, very similar to what I just played in the style of finger style for acoustic, okay? Where you're kind of really using your thumb and your fingers, and your thumb has a basic steady pattern that it does when your fingers play a melody or something else, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is look at what I was doing with my thumb. And this is basically, if we keep it very simple, I'm just going to be holding down an A minor chord, all right? And we're going to pick A, D, E, D, as far as the strings. So I'm just going to pick, I don't need to do anything with my left hand. Again, keep it simple and keep it steady. So I'm going to go A, D, E, D, A, D, E, D. All at quarter notes. So if you have a metronome, set it at a tempo where you could do this nice and steady, slow and easy. Okay, don't worry about your other fingers, just kind of keep this going. Now, maybe 5 beats at a time, try increasing your tempo and just get a little bit quicker at it. Nothing too much faster, just a little bit. Okay, and after you keep going, you get to this nice steady little pace. Okay? So you want to get to a point where you could play twice as fast at a tempo, all right? And one of the exercises that you want to do is play at a slow tempo. And then for maybe one bar or one time around or one repetition, play at twice the speed. And then go back to the tempo that you started, okay? This is one of the things that builds dexterity, and it also builds accuracy and a lot of other things too, and it builds coordination. So here's an example using that same pattern. So I'm going to play this real slow. Now, back to quarters. Okay, so again, the whole idea is take it at a slow tempo, play twice as fast, but not consistently. All you're trying to do is get a clean run of it one time, and then you go back. You don't want to be in the mindset that you need to play clean at a high speed consistently. It's not going to happen. You're going to get sloppy. It's going to fall apart because you're not used to pushing yourself that fast yet. But what happens is after you kind of build up a little tolerance, you do it once and you play it clean. You go back to the regular speed. Then try to play it twice in a row. And then always in the mindset that I'm going to go back down to the slower speed. Right? So here's my slow tempo. Now, back to slow. You know what I mean? Now I'm going to go for longer. Back to slow. All right? So if I take that strategy, I use that for everything. I mean, whether it's chord playing, whether it's soloing and playing leads, whatever it is, if you really want to get more dexterity, more accuracy, better coordination, and just overall everything better, playing something at a very slow tempo, going at twice the speed, and then going back down, it's a way to really make sure you learn control, okay? So if you're trying to struggle, especially with, or if you're struggling with something, trying to get better at it, use that whole idea. You know, one tempo, very slow. It almost feels like stupid slow that you're bored and everything. But keep in mind, you need to play and start at a speed where you know you could play twice as fast, okay? So that's one tip on building dexterity and being able to play this for longer stretches of time. The other thing too is just longer practice sessions. You know, if you feel sharp pains, like immediate sharp pains, that's always bad. And if you feel that, stop and don't play for a little bit. Stretch your fingers out, stretch your arm out, okay? There's a bunch of stretching exercises like I'm doing right now that are always good to warm up with, all right? You want to warm up your muscles when you do any activity. But if you just feel sore and you're just, you know, you feel strained a little bit, that's good, that's progress. You know, put the guitar down for the day. The next day you might still feel a little sore, but it's okay to feel a little sore. You're not going to improve and get more dexterity if you don't feel that. So just because it's a little uncomfortable, that's a good thing. You want to be thinking about that rather than, ouch, you know, think about, this is great, I did some practicing, I'm improving. Again, if you feel sharp pain, that's not good. So stop, rest, and come back to it some other time. But pushing yourself to just play longer is the other way to build dexterity so that you could play for longer periods of time, okay? Now, the one other thing that we talked about here with the Travis picking is now once I get a steady rhythm going with just my thumb, you want to build independence. So the next thing I want to do is introduce another note on the opposite beat. So if we go back to our quarter notes, what I'm going to do is use my index finger and I'm going to introduce the B string on the off beats. So in other words, again, not going to be doing this consistently. I'm going to shoot for doing it one bar, stop and go back to doing just the thumb, and then do it again once I introduce, when I'm mentally ready to try it again. So here it comes. Back to normal. All right. Now we're going to go back. There we go. So taking it again, very slow, and now what you're doing is you're kind of filling up the rhythm with more notes, okay? We were just playing chord notes. Now we're playing steady eighth notes overall because we're introducing the other note on the offbeat. And I could just stop playing the other one. My thumb's going to keep doing the same exact thing. If I do this enough, my thumb develops independence, and I feel more and more comfortable about doing whatever I want to try out with my index finger. And that is the best way to start introducing independence. This takes a long time to do intricate things where your thumb might be doing one thing and your other finger or fingers might be doing something totally different. It's not an easy thing. But like anything else, you need to simplify what's happening and build upon the complexity of it slowly, okay? Hopefully that helps. Let me know. These were the most, you know, the biggest topics that I wanted to cover and that we did cover in our previous lesson. So hopefully that helps. And I'll be doing a lot more of these. Hopefully we got this whole, you know, scene dialed in a little bit better. Hopefully the audio is fixed. I'll double check that in the replay. But we got the screen cast now so I could be able to show things, and got a lot more cool things going on that I'll be looking forward to doing with you guys. So take care, keep practicing, and keep an eye out from Rock Guitar Power and Super Guitar Licks. If you're not already familiar with them, they both have free trials to check them out and courses to dive into. The paid versions obviously have a lot more going on, but jump in. If you ever have questions, you could always email me, mike@rockguitarpower.com, and I'm happy to get back to you and help you with whatever you're working on. All right, guys, cheers. Keep practicing, and we'll be at you real soon with a new lesson. Later.